That's it then from me on News Pulse. It's over to Rahul Shivshankar for India Upfront.
It's indeed, Padmaja. Viewers, on India Upfront tonight, a story that brings you unprecedented scenes, at least not in recent times, from the Union capital. Remember how Delhi burnt in February 2020. Remember how flames of hatred and violence singed the streets as murderous mobs went on a rampage. Leading one such mob was Sharukh Pathan. Watch how he trains his gun at an unarmed constable. Let's bring out those pictures. There you can see it straight. He's also seen in multiple videos firing several rounds in the air. That was then. His actions landed him in jail, and rightly so, as Sharukh was the poster boy for a latter-day intifada, as it was being claimed, waged against the Indian Parliament for passing a bill to shield Hindus, Sikhs, Jains, Christians, Buddhists, all persecuted minorities living in 3 Islamic countries, Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh. Why any Indian Muslims would have had a problem with this, one cannot understand. But nonetheless, Muslims group said the CAA was a bigoted legislation that discriminated against them. Several protests were launched against the Modi government for being Islamophobic, and many of them turned violent, fanned by charged religious slogans threatening India's unity. Now viewers, as I said, that was then. No one can forget these visuals because it coincided with the arrival of the US president of that time, Donald Trump. Some days ago, however, and let's bring you those pictures. Let's bring you the contrast. Some days ago, this same man, Sharukh Pathan, returned home on parole. In the heart of Delhi, in Jafrabad, in the locality he lived in, he got a hero's welcome. The video has set off alarm bells. Instead of being shunned as the man who waged war on the very idea of India, he was hailed as a poster boy for Muslim rights. Viewers, I want you to think back on the time. I want you to think back on the time when the CAA became associated with a radical politics. I want you to think back on the time when Azadi chants were heard in Shaheen Bagh and on its stage, when children were made to chant Hitler wali maut marega slogans, Hindutva se Azadi slogans heard at Shaheen Bagh, Qatil provocation by Congress's leaders at Shaheen Bagh. Let's see who's stronger, us or that Qatil, that murderer, referring to the Prime Minister. All of this was said, viewers. All of this was said. Listen in.
कर सकता हूं, वो करने को तैयार हूं, ये वायदा करके, आप सबके सामने वायदा करके, जो कुछ सहारा भी आप हम मुझसे चाहते हो, मैं हम नहीं कह रहा हूं, मैं कह रहा हूं, मुझसे चाहते हो, वो मैं देने को तैयार हूं, और जो भी कुर्बानियां देनी हो उसमें मैं भी शामिल होने को तैयार हूं। अब देखें कि किसके हाथ कौन किसका हाथ मजबूत है, हमारा या कातिल।
Well, viewers, these were the kind of slogans. Today, the poster boy for this anarchy is being hailed. Is this right? This is the Tukde-Mindset proof on camera. What viewers is there to celebrate? What is there to celebrate? Just what is being celebrated? an attack on Bharat? That's the fundamental question. I want to open this up and I want to go straight across to Danish Qureshi, the political analyst, Kamruzaman Chaudhary, Mujibur Rahman, Shehzad Poonawalla and Smita Prakash. None of these panelists, viewers, need an introduction. They're very well-known panelists who have, of course, been very much known for their views. And I want to go straight across to Danish Qureshi. Danish Qureshi, what is there to celebrate? I'm sure you will condemn what we've just seen. This reception, this riotous reception for a person who didn't hesitate to point a gun at the idea of India. Danish Qureshi, do you condemn this outright? What's your point of view?
No, remember one thing. First of all, the things is before the court, and let court decide what happened. If anybody has come on the bail and the people, those who are relative, friends and well-wishers had welcomed him, what's wrong in that? I don't think that that's a wrong. And other thing is that if he has done any crime, then court will convict him.
Okay. If he has done any crime, court will convict him. We are here talking about the mindset. Let me begin by getting everyone's point of view. Shehzad Poonawalla, what do you make of what Danish Qureshi is saying? On the face of it, he says you can't condemn him before he is tried by court.
May I just take 1 second to just... Danish ji, is Sadhvi Pragya a terrorist? This is the Rahul Gandhi
Sorry?
moment. Is Sadhvi Pragya a terrorist? I understand if you want to be like Rahul Gandhi, take some time.
I think
You've
he's
done
a
a Rahul.
member of parliament.
Chalo.
And he is booked under
Chalo.
the serious offence of
Chalo.
terrorist.
Chhod do yaar.
Remember one
Chhod
thing.
do.
Shahrukh is not
I think
under
I've
terror.
adequately exposed what needs to be exposed. Your double standards and your hypocrisy. No, wait, Mr. Danish, don't intrude on my time.
Shehzad.
By the way, even you're on bail, I've heard. Even you're on bail for offending the Shivling, for making insulting remarks about the Shivling. Anyways, Danish,
don't go personal. I can show you your statement on BJP and RSS.
Forget my statements. Be thankful.
I just want you to 1 second, viewers. Let me just step in 30 seconds. 1 second. Danish bhai, please, let's not. Okay, Danish bhai, 1 second. Let's speak. Let's speak in turn.
Rahul, he asked me a question.
You answered the question. He's now responding to you, sir, why he believes that you are being a hypocrite. You want to listen to him, you can listen to him, and then you can respond. No problems. I'm not running away. Neither are any of the other panelists. I just want you to see some visuals, viewers. This is the man we are speaking about, Sharukh, who held up a gun and put it at the temple of a security officer, viewers, right there. And he fired many shots in the air. Sadhvi Pragya is accused of a crime under serious section of the law, but she's not convicted. But she's a terrorist. But Sharukh, what Shehzad Poonawalla is trying to suggest, is a man who we must give benefit of the doubt to. He can't be an anarchist. Forget about a terrorist, he can't be a rioter either. When there is enough proof, it's there for us to see. And I can understand you can hide behind technicalities, but then do exactly the same. Apply the same logic to different cases. Okay, now Mr. Poonawalla, what's the point you're trying to make? You've exposed him as a hypocrite, for example. That's what you set out to do. What's the larger point?
The larger point, Rahul, is that there is an ecosystem that comes in the defense of dangais and atankis every time in the name of vote bank politics. And I call them ki kaun banega dangai ka sabse bada bhaijan competition. In this dangai ka bhaijan competition, you see, when Mr. Afzal Guru is convicted, one says, Afzal hum sharminda hai, tere qatil zinda hai, and that person is taken into the Congress party. When there is Burhan Wani who is killed, he is called the son of a headmaster. When Yaqub Memon is hanged to death, the OVC says that Yaqub was a poor man caught by circumstances. Today, when Tahir Hussain has been jailed for his crimes, the Amanatullah Khan and the Aam Aadmi Party says that, oh, he was a poor Muslim. When Ansar is caught during the Jahangirpuri riots, they say he was a poor kabadi wala. So this dangaiyon ka bada bhaijan kaun banega? In the name of vote bank politics, they give cover fire.
Cover fire. And this is anarchy. Is that what you're saying?
Sharukh was passed off by a journalist who is less watched by all of your shows, unfortunately, as Anurag. Do you know one journalist on prime time said that he was Anurag? This is the level to which they can try and deflect the blame onto the Hindus. They tried it in 26/11, they tried it in Pulwama, and today they have said he's an aspiring TikTok star.
Danish Qureshi, respond. Danish Qureshi, respond. Is this the reason why we are seeing rampant anarchy? Because people like you, according to Shehzad Poonawalla, provide cover fire. You call these people Anurag. You don't want to accept the facts. You don't want to step in and condemn.
शहजाद सबसे बड़ा दंगाइयों का भाईजान वो है जब दिल्ली कोर्ट ये कहती है कि प्रवेश वर्मा और अनुराग कहां हैं जो ये कह रहे थे गोली मारो का नारा देने के बाद जो दिल्ली में दंगे हुए, शायद वो भूल गए। उनसे बड़े भाईजान इस देश में कोई नहीं हो सकता। एंड दे वर नॉट बीन बुक्ड इन एनी एफआईआर अगेन इन द मैटर ऑफ दिल्ली राइट। वेयर वर यू एट दैट मोमेंट? दिल्ली कोर्ट की बात कर रहा हूं मैं। कौन सी कोर्ट ने कहा वो जरा दिखा दीजिए ना पढ़कर। मैं दे दूंगा आपको।
नहीं दे दूंगा नहीं, अभी दे दो, मेरा समय ले लो राहुल, गिव मी माय टाइम।
बिल्कुल मैं दे दूंगा आपको।
Which day, which court?
मेरा एक फोन कनेक्ट, अरे मेरा एक फोन कनेक्ट मैं दे दूंगा राहुल शीर्ष में। बिल्कुल मैं रिकॉर्ड पे बात कर रहा हूं और मैं आपको दे दूंगा।
रिकॉर्ड कोई वैल्यू नहीं करता, आप कोर्ट का रिकॉर्ड।
सबसे बड़े भाईजान कौन है? जब
कोर्ट को ये कहना पड़ता है, शिवलिंग का मजाक उड़ा रहे थे।
अरे आपका, सुनिए मेरी बात, आपका रिकॉर्ड नहीं वैल्यू करता है तो सुनिए,
आप मुझे कोर्ट का बता दो मेरी बात।
जब रिकॉर्ड वैल्यू नहीं करता
तो दो सांसदों के खिलाफ बोला है, परवेश वर्मा, अनुराग।
बिल्कुल मैं दे दूंगा आपको स्टेटमेंट।
दे दूंगा नहीं, अभी
कोर्ट ने, हाँ बिल्कुल ये कहा गया दिल्ली पुलिस को, जब दिल्ली पुलिस ये कहा गया कि भाई क्यों इनके खिलाफ मामले बुक नहीं, तो क्यों आज तक बुक नहीं हुए? क्यों नहीं हुए? तो ये दंगाइयों के सबसे बड़े भाईजान है।
Danish Qureshi, please, you can't make accusations against people who are not here to defend themselves without proof. That is the basic ask. Please, that's the basic ask. I can't say tonight, for example, that Danish Qureshi is a hate monger. I can't say it. I will not be able to say it because the court is definitely hearing your matter. The point is in this particular case.
No, I know.
Danish bhai, 1 minute. There is a charge sheet that is filed. It has been taken cognizance of. Charges have been framed against this individual. He has been given parole. That means the court still believes that he cannot be given bail because he might be in a position to alter the facts on the ground. So that is why he's been denied bail, but he was given parole to attend a family affair. That's all. But he was given a huge reception. Now I want to just point out some facts, Smita Prakash, and I want to bring you in on here. You're the editor of India's largest video news agency. I just want you to take note of what I'm saying. Kapil Sibal had said, when Jayant Sinha had garlanded lynchers in 2018, there were 8 accused convicted for lynching. They were garlanded by Jayant Sinha when they were granted bail. At that time, Mr. Sibal said, you got it wrong, Modi ji. They say your government has become lynch pujari. That was what was said. Contrast to what Danish Qureshi of the MIM says today. Manish Tiwari on Jayant Sinha garlanding lynchers, he said, and I quote, politics of hatred and violence has been legitimized by ministers who have taken oath of protecting the constitution. If their resignations are not obtained, then it would mean that their actions have Prime Minister's support. This is what was said. What Congress said when Akhlaq Lynching accused was seen at Yogi rally in 2019. It was said BJP knows it has lost the elections and thus are trying to polarize the voters ahead of the polls. This is Surendra Rajput, Congress spokesperson. What Congress said, viewers, when Mahesh Sharma visited the family of one of the accused in the Akhlaq lynching case, this is Tom Vadakkan. He said, these are achhe din for accused in jail. I think that is the message that the government is trying to send out. Now, Sibal has of course left the Congress and Tom Vadakkan has joined the BJP. So obviously they're not going to repeat the same things, or at least Tom Vadakkan won't. But I want to ask you, Smita Prakash, if we do not condemn, do you believe, and I'm asking you this objectively, if you do not condemn these people for what they are doing, are we emboldening anti-India hate, a kind of unlicensed bigotry? Smita Prakash.
It's selective condemnation, right? You pointed out clearly. I mean, what is this tomb-like silence now from those same commentators who were so vocal, who were so clear in their condemnation? If it was wrong then, it's wrong now. I mean, Sharukh Pathan is no hero, and under any parameters, and no sane person can see him as a hero. He gets a hero's welcome. It's beyond any person's imagination. And there is video evidence, there is photographic evidence that he brandished a gun at a policeman. I think his name was Dahiya, if I'm not mistaken, the policeman's name, who stood stoically with a gun pointed at his face. I mean, everybody knows what's happening in America, right? What is happening in the most powerful country in the world? That gunman was not confronted by policemen. There was no police action taken for an hour. And here's a gunman, here is a policeman who had nothing, probably just a lathi. He had nothing, and here was a gun pointed at his face. And that person who pointed the gun is being given a hero's welcome. Under what pretext can you be silent on something like this is what I want to know from those same people who were so vocal at that time. How is it that in America, young lads in their teens are able to buy guns? We are seeing how America has been reduced to coming to its knees. Mental health has become such a big issue. And in our country, it is easy to obtain guns. It's not as easy as in America, but it is easy. The fact that this guy, Sharukh Pathan, could pick up a gun and come to that CAA rally and hold a gun to a policeman's face. We have to stop this rot now. If we don't stop this rot, and if our society keeps giving a hero's welcome to people like him, then I'm sorry, we are going to go the way of America then.
Okay, well, Mujibur Rahman, how would you like to respond? Would you say that this is condemnable, and that giving anyone a license to hail this kind of mindset is to invite anarchy against the state, weaken this Indian state?
First thing, he was not a writer. If he was, he would have killed that policeman, but he didn't. But he was just exercising a right given by the Constitution of private defense, which is already defined in the Constitution from section 96 onwards.
No,
he has seen.
I didn't
interrupt you. He has seen. I didn't interrupt you. I didn't interrupt you. I didn't interrupt you. I didn't interrupt you. Please let me speak. Do not lynch me. Please don't try to lynch me here.
Lynch you? Excuse me? Didn't get that.
He has already seen that police personnel along with the rioters were hitting the Muslim homes, were burning the Muslim houses, and were killing Muslim people. He already had seen those things. So when the police personnel with those rioters came to his home, he just protected his own people.
Mujibur Rahman, please sir, I have great regard for you. Mr. Rahman, I have great regard for you. But you have said the Delhi police was killing people, burning people's houses. I want you to show me one complaint you made in the last 2 years. You're an advocate. If you have not, Rahul, I will tell you to please exercise your discretion. He has made this kind of commentary against the Delhi police.
I myself have made the complaint.
Where is the complaint? Where is the FIR?
I myself have made this complaint.
Please show it to us.
I myself
which area was
made the
which area? Whose house?
Made the complaint,
and what was done on that complaint?
A
complaint has to be registered into an FIR, especially when it is so serious.
I have made my.
Which person was Delhi police murdering? Who was Delhi police trying to set on fire? Please, let's speak facts. I'm telling you to give the facts. Where was this taking place? Please show us the footage or the FIR copy that you might be having. You filed a complaint, show the registered complaint. Show the registered complaint.
Janagal Man Adina.
What is he doing? He's insulting the national anthem.
Do you remember Mr. Shehzad Poonawalla?
He's insulting the national anthem. He's just stopped the national anthem in the middle. What is
one second, just 1 second, Mr. Rahman, just 1 minute, please. 1 second, Mr. Rahman, I don't quite know what is happening here. This is a slightly bizarre exercise of your time. Now, I just want you to just simply break this down. You made a very, very serious charge that he was acting in self-defense. Now, this gentleman, sir, was about 3 kilometers from his home. That is what I'm being told. 3 kilometers from his home, he had a weapon with him. The police are out on the streets trying to stop protesters, which is their right, their duty. Protesters who are throwing stones. There you can see the disruption to public order that has happened. You can see the large number of stones that have been thrown at the police themselves. If anyone who should have been pulling out a gun in defense should have been the police. And we know that the police did, in fact, attack some of the protesters who were actually pelting these stones. There were clashes. Many policemen got injured. In the midst of this individual goes up to a policeman and points a gun to his head, clearly trying to intimidate the police. The state, the police, is an arm of the Indian state. Kamaruzzaman Chaudhary, I want to ask you, as a political party that takes a position against hate, anarchy of all kinds, will you at least today follow in the hallowed traditions of Kapil Sibal and say that this was an absolute travesty unfolding when he was given this massive hero's welcome? Would you at least be consistent today, Mr. Chaudhary, and disagree with Mujibur Rahman and Danish?
Yeah, of course. No, Rahul, for once, though I differ on Smita's viewpoint on many issues, but I will agree to her viewpoint that the gun should not have landed in Sharukh's hand in the first place. The second part to the entire discussion today, you see Vishal's youth, who was deported after serving a sentence in Australia, he was deported to India. He was received by a hero's welcome in India. People from the Bharatiya Janata Party, for which my dear friend Shehzad is aspiring to be the BJP president, gave them hero's welcome. Even Tejinder Bagga welcomed him on Twitter and saying, "Welcome back, hero." This was the case. Second issue, Parvesh Ansari, when he was lynched, you mentioned it very clearly, how he was welcomed and garlanded. Just 2 days ago, Bharatiya Janata Party workers and leaders welcomed
Mr. Chaudhary, yes, all these things happened and they are condemnable. I just want to ask you, two wrongs don't make a right. Can you please explain? Can you, Mr. Chaudhary, explain to Mr. Rahman why he's wrong? Can you please address first to Mr. Rahman and tell him why he's wrong, that he should not be upholding this kind of anarchy and creating a justification for it? Can you please? This has happened in the Union capital, for God's sakes.
No, it doesn't matter whether it is in the Union capital or in the jungles of, let's say, Jharkhand or somewhere in the corner of Nagaland. No public has got any right to brandish a fire weapons against any fellow citizen. Leave aside the security forces. That is clear, done and dusted. There cannot be any justification for that. But you see, if I go into the justification and go in for a healthy debate, the first and foremost, you only said two wrongs do not make a right. But hate begets hate. When you propagate hate on one side, there will be hate on the other side.
Would you disagree with Mr. Chaudhary, or would you still say that this is self-defense?
Certainly it was self-defense. If he really wanted to kill that policeman, he would have killed him. He was just acting just warning the policeman that do not enter in their homes, do not enter with
then let me tell you that Sadhvi Pragya can say that I picked up arms because I wanted to defend my country against marauders. And that's why I did what I did. Then she could easily say this tomorrow, and then you should be saluting her.
Then certainly she should go to the borders.
Well, I think that we've lost. Mr. Chaudhary, can you please explain?
Point is that what you are missing. Yeah, I'm telling you, you cannot just justify one event with the other. But then, as Sharukh was given a welcome, a hero's welcome, as you may put it, he is just coming back to his mohalla. There may be some excited crowd out there. But organized way, how the lynchers of Tabrez Ansari were garlanded, how the PC George was garlanded, how this guy Vishal Youth was welcomed back in India. That is the problem. You have got Ram Bhakt Gopal.
This is not an aberration.
You have got Ram Bhakt
By the end of the show, one second, Mr. Chaudhary. Mr. Chaudhary, Mr. Kamruzaman Chaudhary.
What Mr. Chaudhary is saying is that those who are pointing fingers today or throwing stones at us today live in glass houses. That's what he's saying. When you point a finger, three point back at you. That's the kind of logic that is being used. So please respond to that, Mr. Poonawalla.
Now, my only limited point is that Mr. Sharukh Pathan has not even got bail. He was out on parole. So you can't compare two situations where the court has made observations in favor of somebody and released them even on bail, or released them or acquitted them or discharged them, and the second being a person who's been allowed to go on parole. So Mr. Sharukh Pathan is guilty in the eyes of law as of today. But I am asking you the question that why is it that for every rioter and terrorist your heart beats, whether it's in Jahangirpuri, whether it's in Khargone, whether it's in Kambat, whether it's in Karoli? Where is the main accused of Karoli riots? Still not caught?
We've heard everyone's point of view here, viewers. I don't think there is any doubt in any sane and rational person's mind that what we have seen is alarming, and it should be condemned. It should be condemned because in a rule-abiding society you must not eulogize those who take the law into their hands, whether they are Hindus or they are Muslims or they belong to any other denomination, viewers. People who are extremists must be made, or the mirror must be held up to them. They should not ever be lionized. That is the basic rule of civility. And Mr. Rahman, Mr. Qureshi and others who don't want to accept this, well, you're abetting in anarchy, sir. There is no difference between those in the Kashmir Valley with anti-India sentiments who hail the Burhanwanis and those who are sitting today on Times Now and hailing the actions of Sharukh Pathan and the response he got.
May I just come in for a second?
Yes, Smita Prakash, yes. Before I move on, yes.
Just to add to what you're saying, Rahul, I think while everybody is talking about Sharukh, it is also important to talk about the people who are welcoming him. You see, where do we go from here? What is necessary is that a sarpanch, a block development officer, or a district collector in an urban area or in a rural area, they should take upon themselves to never repeat the kind of mistake which happened today. It's not just मोहल्ले वाले ने उनको reception दे दिया and they were just got emotional about his coming. No, it is the duty as a civic individual to make sure that these kind of things do not happen. This kind of eulogizing of somebody who is a convict should not happen. He's an under trial, agreed. And the sad thing is, like millions of other countrymen, I also feel frustrated with the judicial system, whereby the guy is in prison since 2020. I think he was arrested.
Yes.
And this is 2022 and he's still not been convicted of an offense, and because those who are witnesses have not been called as yet. So our judicial system is so tardy, I think as civic servants, as civilians, we should all take responsibility that such people are not eulogized.
I think you're absolutely right. Someone has to draw the line, and if you have people who are abetting in this, they need to also be isolated and shamed. I need to move on, viewers, because